Hey, what is going on, guys? Donovan here. In today's video, I'm going to be going over all of the parts necessary, all of the things you're going to need to pick up so that you can swap this beast of a 392 manifold onto your 5.7. Not only are there a ton of like little parts you need to buy for it, like a MSD box and little wiring things, there are also things that I think you should look for when you're buying one, whether you buy it used or whether you're looking to buy it new and piece everything together. I put out a poll a couple days ago asking whether or not people wanted to see these videos in short segments or in one long install video. So I decided just to go with the small majority, mostly because it's easier to split these things up into segments, and also I ran into a little roadblock doing this install, so I'm hoping to kind of ease these videos out there and put them in a playlist so that they're easy to follow if you guys are interested in doing this yourselves. Now really quick, the RT is kind of taking up the whole garage and blocking my workbench in the back, so I'm going to move the car, give you guys a cold start, and then we'll get into it. I'm going to start with the things that you need to order to get this thing bolted up and getting the active runners working properly in our cars. So obviously the manifold itself is going to be the most important part. It's also the most expensive part, but the second most expensive part is actually this MSD box. So basically what this thing is used for is basically reading the RPM that the motor is at. So what we do is we're going to set it to, for example, like 4,600 RPM, and that'll tell the active runners that it's time to open and go into short runner mode. Basically, what you're gonna have to do is connect this to the circuit bus and tap into an injector wire to read the RPM from the engine. Unfortunately, you have to cut into your wiring harness, which can be kind of scary, but you have to do it if you want the active runners to work. Otherwise, this mod is kind of pointless. Now the next thing is actually what I mentioned a second ago, which is the circuit bus. So what this thing is going to do is allow us to easily connect the MSD box and by extension the active runners into the fuse box of the car. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to ground itself to the body of the car, and then we're going to connect it to a fuse that only activates when the car is on, so that the MSD box isn't constantly on and drawing power from the battery. So next is actually going to be a part straight from MOPAR, and it is going to be this little wiring repair kit. It comes with this little connector, which we are going to use to, number one, put wires into it, and number two, connect those wires to the active wiring actuator that's on the manifold itself. A lot of people have asked me about the fuel injectors and fuel rails that come on the manifolds in the 6.4. So the 6.4 has different fuel injectors. They have a higher volumetric flow rate than the ones that come in the 5.7. And because of that, if you are going to use the 6.4 injectors, you actually have to get the car tuned, or else it's not going to know what the hell's going on. But you do have the option of using the fuel rails and injectors that come on your 5.7, and from there you won't need a tune. Still recommended because you're bolting on, you know, a new mod, you want to get it tuned for it, but if you're in a crunch, you won't need to get the car tuned. Also, you're going to want to keep in mind that your stock intake will not work for this manifold. So it really depends what you want to do with it. I'm actually not going to buy another intake because I don't feel like forking out 300 bucks. So I'm going to make this thing fit. I'm probably going to cut it here, buy a new fitting at like Home Depot or some auto parts store to just make it fit up, since the throttle body location is different for the 6.4 manifold. Because of that throttle body location, you won't be able to use this cap anymore, but I might actually try to cut it here a little bit so that I could fit it back on, because it's good for sound dampening. And also it kind of makes the intake look a little more incognito. We'll see if that works. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but with that being said, you can actually, assuming it's in a good condition, you can reuse the throttle body gasket, which goes here on the intake, and the throttle body bolts right up. So moving on to the manifold itself, as you can see, it's kind of naked right now. You're going to see quite a few things missing on it, and I want to point out that a lot of these things actually swap directly over from your stock manifold onto this one. So a lot of things you can reuse, like those fuel rails. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to swap over the oil cap from your 5.7 onto the 6.4 one. The 6.4 cars use a different oil, so if you're taking your car in to get the oil changed and stuff, assuming they only look at the cap to determine which oil to put in, you want to make sure it says 5W20 instead of the, I think, 1040 or 040 that the 6.4 uses. You're going to want to order this PCV hose. Mine didn't come with it. I think the person who had this before had a catch can on it, which I don't have yet. I'll make sure to put the part numbers to everything in the description as well, in case yours is missing it. Moving on, you're going to want to make sure it has this cap as well, part number in the description. And then the biggest thing you're going to want to make sure this manifold has, because it's going to be very expensive if it doesn't, is this runner actuator. So this is the thing that I showed it a minute ago. This is what this plug is going to hook into. And basically this controls the active runners, the long runners, short runners in the intake so that it can switch. And this is kind of the heart of our wiring topic. Now, unfortunately, as you guys can see, mine got damaged in shipping. So I can't do the install just yet, but I'm going to do a lot of the wiring before I even bolt this thing on. So I'll be able to show you guys, but the part should be coming in the next 2 or 3 days, so we should be okay. But yeah, this thing slips in back here, where you can see there's a little gasket right here. It slips in, you bolt it on, it controls the runners, blah, 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 you're good to go. Also, you're going to want to make sure that this map sensor is coming on the intake. I'm not sure how much they cost, but I'm also pretty sure that the ones on the 5.7 do not bolt directly onto this. So this is your manifold air pressure gauge, or air pressure sensor, so obviously you need this or else the car isn't going to run properly. Now these are the intake manifold gaskets that came on it, and these obviously go on the bottom and actually connect to the motor, so those are compressed when you bolt the thing down. If yours are in good condition, Dodge says you can reuse them, but obviously if they're damaged or torn at all, you want to get new ones. So make sure you take care of yours when you take them off, because these things directly from Dodge are like $12 a piece for these stupid little things, and you need 8 of them. There's one missing here, so I'm going to end up using my stock ones. Car only has 19,000 miles, so it should be okay. Now next, I bought this little breather. It isn't really necessary, but on the 6.4s there is a tube that goes between here and the intake. For the time being, I just bought this little breather for like 20 bucks, put it on there, and we'll see. You're going to hear a lot of people say that you need to elongate the intake air temperature sensor. Thankfully, this little kit that I showed you earlier, part number and link in the description, this little kit actually provides enough wires so that you can do that. So you should have everything you need with all these parts to be good to go to install it. I know this wasn't a super scientific video, but a bunch of people on Instagram were DMing me like, what do I need to buy? I have the manifold already. What do I do next? So you have quite a few parts you need to accumulate. These should be the only things that you need. Of course, if I run into anything else, I'll make sure to edit the description and pin a comment at the top of the comment section to update you guys, but we should be good to go. Anyways, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. I know it wasn't anything crazy, but I hope that it was helpful. If you guys are interested in doing this mod yourself and you want to follow along, please remember to click that subscribe button below. Click the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.